Hi, I'm Quynn. I'm from Junk Punk Show. You can call me Mr. Junk. I write a zine, junk web zine, or junk magazine if I print it, but all of it's online too. I've been throwing shows for like 5 years now, and I've been in the scene for much longer, but that's all I do pretty much. I also make music, but I mainly do the show and zine stuff.
So tell me more about your zine.
It's called Junk. The name literally just comes from me visiting Detroit, which is where I was born, and there was a show that was called Punk and Junk, and they did a punk show with like a garage sale, and I was like, that's super cool, and so I said like junk for my show promotion stuff because it just spoke to me since it was like from the place I was born, and like junk kind of represents how the scene or like punks in general are kind of discarded by society, like trash, like junk. And you know, they're always trying to like get rid of us because we're loud and we like cause a ruckus for them. And so it's like, it reminds me of those like junk removal services you see all the time. That's kind of what relates to like being a punk. They want to remove you and get rid of you because you're outspoken and you don't care what other people think. But yeah, for the zine, I mainly interview bands, interview artists, I write opinion pieces, I do like news reports, so I do like show reviews, album reviews, all that kind of stuff. But I more recently started delving into writing like my propaganda. So I did a zine called Creating and Sustaining a Safe and Inclusive Music Scene, and it's all about how we can make the scene better and safer. So like getting rid of hardcore drugs that people sell at shows or do at shows, making sure everybody is safe at shows, making sure shows are inclusive and that people aren't being harassed or assaulted at shows, because that unfortunately has happened to me more times than it should have, and that's kind of how it is for most like femme viewed people in the scene. Also making sure that like people of like smaller groups that aren't like marginalized groups that aren't as represented, especially in the music industry that's very white, cis, male centric. I want like queer people on stage, I want trans people on stage, I want people of color on stage. I want them to be the spotlight because they never get that. So I'm sick and tired of the cis white male dominated scene, and that's why I started throwing shows in the first place.
And tell me your opinion on the scene.
The scene has been there for me in my roughest times, but it also has created my roughest times at the same time. So I started going to shows when I was probably around like 15, and I love like the backyard show environment because I grew up in Santa Clarita, which was a very like boring right-wing city, a lot of conservative people trying to fight with me. I got arrested for like protesting out there a couple times. It's very much like not a very welcoming space to someone who's not like cis white male again. So when I started going to shows in LA, I was like, wait, there's people who will accept me for who I am and who aren't going to call me gay slurs. Like, that's crazy. So after going to shows, I realized it created like this kind of safe space for me. I met a lot of friends who like I'm still friends with today. I was able to like open my eyes up to a whole new world that I had never experienced because I was so stuck in like the bubble that is Santa Clarita. So I wanted to bring that safe space to people like me who didn't feel like they really fit in where they were from, or like that they didn't have anyone on their side for anything. And that's what punk was to me in the beginning, was like my safe space and like a place where I could be myself. But as I continued going to shows, when I hit like 17, I started getting very much into like the drug abuse that is unfortunately super rampant within the music scene, especially in LA. A lot of NOS dealers at every show, and when it's accessible like that, people are gonna do it. Because also I was growing up being like 16, 17, hanging out with like 30-year-old punk dudes at shows, and like I would drive them to all the shows because they didn't have like licenses or cars, and I was like 16 with a license in a car, so I was like, I got you guys, like I'll drive you to the shows. And then when we would go to shows, they would like buy me drugs, buy me alcohol, convince me like doing NOS is fine, we all do it, it's just silly, it's a little balloon, it can't hurt you, and like get me like beyond fucked up, and then ask me to drive them home after and convince me that I wasn't as fucked up as I thought I was, and I was good to drive. No, I wasn't. Thankfully, nothing ever happened to us, and I'm still here today. But after having that experience and realizing like the people that I trusted were willing to watch me like kill myself through like drugs and alcohol, through like doing NOS and killing your brain cells, like they were totally willing to not only watch me do that, but like provide me with that. Like it made me realize that as much as the scene can be a safe space, there are definitely parts of it that are not, and there are parts of it that will like try to ruin you, because everybody's kind of fucking sad when you're in the punk scene. Like everybody is angry at society. Everyone wants change to happen, but like it's such a difficult thing to accomplish, like changing the world or even just changing like our country and our government. It's so difficult, and we're beaten down like every day because the government doesn't want us to overthrow them, obviously, or to make any changes that will disrupt the status quo, that will take white men out of power. So they want us to be doing these drugs and to be distracted with these substances so that we cannot like cause an uprising or a revolution of any kind. They want us to be like down and like literally incoherent so that we can't even think about like the ways that we've been fucked by the system. So after going to shows for a while and realizing that like drug abuse was such a horrible and like common thing within the scene, it really made me think, like, is the scene like what I thought it was this whole time? Like, are we really like out here trying to make change, or are we just going to these shows so that we can party and get fucked up? Because I go for the music, I go for like the messages that are being spread, but I feel like a lot of the time it's more so about like getting fucked up than it is about actually enjoying the music or the movement itself.
And what is your opinion of heavy drugs being sold at all ages shows?
That's definitely something that makes me very angry, because I know a lot of venues or even promoters who sell like NOS and other hard drugs like whippets, even though like a lot of people don't even consider NOS and whippets hard drugs, but they definitely are, because they're destroying your brain cells to get you high, and like they lead to so many negative side effects like paralyzations or seizures or permanent brain damage that no one really talks about or even like don't know about. Selling that at shows is like awful, because like I've had arguments with like people who sell NOS and stuff who tell me like, well, they're gonna get it regardless, and so I'm selling it to them so I know what they're buying is safe. And it's like, when I was 16 doing NOS, I didn't even know what NOS was. I didn't know what the substance even was. Like, I just thought it was like a fucking balloon. So like, to say that kids will go out and buy NOS is actually so dumb, because if they don't have it within their like sight, they don't know that it's a thing, they don't know, like, they don't have access to it at a show, they're not gonna fucking do it. Like, it's just dumb. I always thought it was dumb, but I still did it because everybody else was doing it. And it was like silly, funny balloons, carnival. Like, it's really bad. And to sell it to children who like don't really know what they're doing, or who are easily influenced by their surroundings, easily influenced by the people they look up to like allow them to damage their brains when they're not even done being developed, and like to have them like getting fucked up at your shows just to make money is so ridiculous and so disgusting. It's literally giving capitalism, and I don't know why we're giving capitalism as like the punk scene. Like, it's not about making money, it's about a movement, and it's about being against the status quo and being against the policies and the systems that have oppressed us for so long, and to fall into that same oppression of selling drugs that will like in turn negatively affect these people, but I need to make my money, I need to make my bag. Like, it's disgusting, and it's just capitalism, and it shouldn't be happening within a movement that is so against those things.
And what was your experience like with NOS? How has it impacted you or other people you hear about?
Yeah, so like I did NOS consistently at shows for like 2 years, maybe like a year and a half. Couldn't tell you because I don't remember, because NOS like actively kills your brain cells, so it causes like memory loss, it causes like brain fog. Like, I would do NOS for like a weekend and I'd be fucked up all week, and then I'd go do it again the next weekend. Like, my brain was never really there, and like it caused me to lose a lot of my memory. It caused a lot of brain fog that I then had to recover from, and thankfully I haven't had any like detrimental, long-lasting effects from it. But I know a lot of people who have, like, people who do drugs or who do NOS consistently and like all the time and have been for a long time, like, you can tell. Like, they're not there. Their sentences don't make sense. They're talking nonsense. It's like really sad to see, because it's a lot of people that I looked up to when I was younger and that I respected, and now like they're literally a completely different person because of what Nas did to them. And like, I've also heard horror stories of like 14-year-old kids doing a bunch of Nas at a show and then having a seizure in the pit, because that's what Nas does. It causes brain damage, which in turn can lead to seizures. It can lead to losing feelings in your limbs. Like, I've seen videos of people talking about it who are like now permanently in a wheelchair for the rest of their life because they lost all feeling in their legs and can't walk anymore because they did too much Nas. Or even like hitting it wrong one time, you fuck yourself for life. Like, it's not a good thing, and it shouldn't be promoted to people going to shows as like the next big thing, or like drugs that are fun and like safe, quote unquote. Yeah, it's just definitely causes a lot of brain issues, causes a lot of even mental illnesses. Like, I've had ex-boyfriends that did Nas so much that I literally was like, I can't even have a conversation with you anymore. And also, like, doing Nas, and it allows you to like lose that lapse in judgment, because you get that brain fog and you're not able to think as clearly as you did before, and so it can then lead to you doing like even harder drugs like cocaine or like stuff like that. So it's definitely had a negative impact on my life from the time that I was doing it, because I was also like kind of not a great person at times, because I was like drunk, I was wasted, I was doing Nas, I was not in my right mind. I was not making the best decisions for myself and for the people around me, and I regret that a lot, and it took me a really long time. I've been sober from like Nas and Whippets and like other inhalants for over a year now, and I can genuinely see the difference in like the way I behave and the way I act towards myself and like other, like, it's just, it causes a lot of damage, even if you don't notice it right away, because you're not gonna, because your brain is not all there. But once you get out of it and you realize, like, wow, I was doing some stupid shit when I was doing these drugs. Like, I'm really glad I was able to stop doing them, and that I also don't, like, drink as much anymore. Like, I barely drink at all. I'd take, like, one shot, get a little buzzed, and be like, I'm good for the night, when I used to literally, like, get blackout drunk, like, every single weekend, like, 3 to 4 days a week. I was, like, blackout drunk every night. And I don't do that anymore. And it was, like, a really awesome thing for me to be able to quit those substances, because it wasn't allowing me to be the person I wanted to be. I want to like make change in the world. I want to like help people. I want our government to not do all the fucking bullshit they do to us. I want our systems to stop fucking oppressing us, and I want like everyone to be equal and happy and like safe and have a roof over their fucking heads. And I can't make any change if I'm like a fucked up Nas head that can't think. Like, I'm really happy I was able to stop doing those drugs, and I urge everyone to at least try. Like, you don't have to fucking stop everything and be completely sober for the rest of your life. Like, you're allowed to have a drink every now and then, as long as you're not like ruining your life and like not able to do the things you want to do. Like, I just want everyone to be able to do the things they want to do, because we only get one life, you know?
And how can we help better the scene?
My hope for the scene is that we can kind of, like, my point when I made my zine, the creating and sustaining a safe and inclusive music scene, my whole point with that was just to like spread information. Like, I just want people to understand what these drugs do. I want people to understand how they can like be safe and like healthy at shows and like beyond. I want shows to be a safe space for people. I don't want people getting assaulted and harassed at shows, and I don't want cis white men being the only fucking bands that are performing. Like, I want it to be the safe and equal and anti-fucking establishment scene that it was created to be. What was the question again?
How can we help better the scene?
Yes, so in order to do that, like, my hope is that people can read my zine and like think about the things that I say, because a lot of it is like my opinions, but it's like I'm trying to start a conversation. Like, my original plan was to do like safe scene meetings where we can all meet and talk about issues that we have with the music scene, talk about ways we can better the scene, because it's not something that like I can do or anyone can do on their own. Like, it has to be a group community effort, because we are a community of people who just want a better world. And we do that through like delivering our messages through music. We do that by like having these shows where people can come and be themselves and like not be fucking harassed for being themselves and be like celebrated for being themselves. And I want everyone to be able to pick up an instrument and like make music to spread messages that they think are important. I want everyone to use their voice in any way they can. And in order to do that, like I think we all just need to kind of come together and like work together to like better our community so that we can have the community that we've always dreamed of having. Like since the beginning of punk, since its fucking early stages, it was always about like fuck the establishment, fuck the government and their fucking oppression. Like we're gonna do whatever the fuck we want and we're gonna be living happy lives, you know? My dream for the longest time was to literally just make a commune of a bunch of punks and we just like live in our little commune and we grow our own food and we like throw shows and we just have a fucking good time and we don't have to participate in the stupid shit that capitalism makes us participate in. Like I don't want to be working a full-time job to afford fucking rent. That's stupid. I should be able to have a roof over my head without working 40 fucking hours a week and being so drained after work that I can barely do anything. Like I want the world to be a better place, and in order for us to make the world a better place, we have to make our community itself the world that we want to see. Like, I want to see everyone successful, everybody happy and healthy. I don't want to see kids seizing at shows because of fucking NOS. I don't want to have NOS dealers drugging children and then trying to, like, do fucked up shit to people. Like, I've had NOS dealers give me a bunch of fucking NOS until I was, like, basically brain dead and then try to assault me. And like I've had to leave shows because of that. I've had to like leave shows because of so many things. Like I haven't gone to shows in a very long time, really, other than shows that I throw, because I know that my shows are safe because I don't allow like these drugs, and I make sure everybody is comfortable and that nobody is harassing any of my fucking people attending my show. And like I wish that every show was like that. Like I wish I could go to any show and know that I would be safe, but that's just unfortunately not how it is right now. And yeah, I think in summary, the way we can better the scene is by working together and being more of a community than we are, and being like uplifting towards each other instead of trying to tear each other down all the time. Because we're all fighting the same battle. We're all trying to make change, and we can only do that if we're doing it together, because not one person can make as much change as a whole group of people.
And for people that do heavy drugs, what is your advice for them to stay safe if they were to be doing it?
The best way to stay safe, and also like there's no judgment to anyone who uses drugs. Like I've been there, I have friends that are currently there, I have friends that have been there, and it's like okay, because the world fucking sucks and we are hopeless sometimes, and the only way to get like a little bit of fucking dopamine is by doing these drugs. And like I just want people to be safe about it, because I don't want any more of my friends overdosing, and I don't want to like lose the people I love because of these issues. So the best way to stay safe is to always have Narcan on you. Also trying to get test strips so that you can make sure there's no fentanyl in anything that you're using, because I'm fucking sick and tired of seeing people die from fentanyl overdoses from fucking laced shit. Like it's stupid and it's fucked up, and I don't want to lose any more of my friends. So always test your shit. Always have Narcan on you for yourself or for any of your friends that you know are using. Even just at a show, like carrying it on you is always like just the best thing to do, because you never know what could happen. And yeah, like making sure to test your drugs, because I've been at shows where people are giving out fucking cocaine and bragging that their coke is not tested because, oh, it's like riskier and it's more fun when you don't know what's in it. Like, it's not fucking fun to watch your friends die. I don't know why anyone would flex not testing their coke. That's weird and creepy. So test your drugs. Make sure that your friends and yourself are safe by carrying Narcan on you. And if you ever do want to like try and get sober or just more sober, like you always have people that have your back. Like you can always reach out to a friend, reach out to me. I don't fucking care if I have never met you before. You can always reach out to me, because it's something that's super important and like something that means a lot to me, because I want everyone to be able to do everything they want, and it's hard to do that when you're being pushed down constantly by like the system and by like our coping mechanisms, no matter what they are. Like, it sucks. The world sucks. But we can make it better if we work together, we stay safe, and we have a good time.
And do you know how to get free testing strips or Narcan, or know anyone that does give them out?
There is let me pull it up real quick. There's an organization that is going to be vending my next show on May 17th at the Smell. They are called Community RX. They give out free Narcan, free testing strips. They educate. They have they set up at tons of shows, but I'm very happy to have them at my next show because they do really awesome work. They give out those free Narcan and test strips. They educate people about drug abuse and like drug usage and on just drugs in general, because you should know what you're putting into your body, you know? So Community RX, super awesome organization. Their Instagram is literally just community.rx, and definitely check them out. Try to get them at your shows if you throw shows, because it's always good to have that kind of energy, and also just having like that Narcan and testing strips available at your events.
So, any final thoughts?
I guess like to wrap things up, NOS is bad. Even if people tell you it's not, it is, and you should do your research. And also just to know that like our community stands together, because the world is against us. The world is against pretty much everyone that is not a cis straight white male. And I want the punk scene to be a place where everyone can succeed, where people in marginalized communities are in the spotlight. I want our femmes, our people of color, our queer people on that fucking stage screaming their hearts out about issues that really, really fucking matter. Like, their voices fucking matter. And that's why I love the punk scene and I love throwing shows, because I love providing that space for people. Like, I just want people to know that like people have their back. Our community has their back. They are safe, they're protected, and they're loved, you know? And that's what our community should be, and I hope we can get there like across the board one day.
We will.
Yes, we will. We trying.
Awesome. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.